Today, we're going to take a trip into the heart of our libraries. But we're not talking about the quiet, dusty places you might be picturing. Nope. We're exploring how they are being completely reinvented from the inside out by technology. So, seriously, take a second. When you think library, what's the first image that pops into your head? Is it that smell of old paper, the total silence, maybe that feeling of walking through these gigantic, towering shelves of books? Okay, hold on to that thought. Because what if I told you that the most advanced academic libraries today are becoming less like quiet warehouses for books and a lot more like a living, breathing data hub, almost like a central nervous system for knowledge? That's the huge transformation we are digging into today. Right, so let's kick things off by just completely rethinking what a library even is in the 21st century. This shift from physical bookshelves to the world of big data, it's not some small upgrade. It is a fundamental revolution in how these places operate and, how they serve us. And look, this wasn't really a choice. It was an absolute necessity. The crazy exponential growth of digital information, we're talking everything from academic journals and data sets to social media, it just meant the old ways of doing things couldn't keep up. Academic libraries basically had to evolve, or they were going to risk becoming totally obsolete. So how'd they do it? Well, this massive change is really being driven by three specific, really powerful technologies. You can think of them as the three digital keys that are unlocking the door to the modern library. The first key is big data. Now, this isn't just about having a ton of information. It's about having the power to process and analyze these enormous, complex data sets to find patterns and gain insights that were, frankly, completely invisible before. And this is where it gets super practical. By analyzing data on, say, which books are checked out, which online resources get the most clicks, even foot traffic patterns inside the building, libraries can finally understand what we, the users, are actually doing. This lets them make way smarter decisions about what to buy and where to put their money. Okay, key number 2 is chatbots. And no, these are not the simple little pop-ups you see on shopping websites. In a library setting, these are sophisticated AI-driven assistants. They're designed to be a student or a researcher's first point of contact anytime, day or night. Just think about the user experience for a second. Instead of waiting for a librarian to be free, you can get instant answers, you can get help navigating these huge, complicated databases, and you can get support at 3 in the morning when you're desperately trying to finish a paper. It completely changes how accessible the library is. And our third and final key is data mining. So if big data is all the raw material, data mining is the detective work. It's the actual process of sifting through all that information to discover the hidden patterns, the unexpected connections, and all the valuable knowledge that's buried deep inside. This is what allows libraries to be proactive instead of just reactive. For example, data mining might show that engineering students are suddenly using a specific database way more than before. The library can then actually predict a need for more resources in that area, sometimes even before the students themselves realize they need them. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so we know what's happening, but where is it happening? Let's zoom out to the global picture for a minute and see how this isn't just a trend, it's basically a full-blown tech race. And who's in the lead? Well, it might surprise you. Have a look at this. This chart shows the number of scientific articles published on this topic each year. You can see it had a pretty slow start, but then, boom. Right around 2014, it just explodes. The interest and the research in this field have been growing like crazy, peaking in 2022. So yeah, this is not a niche idea anymore. It's a major focus for academics. Now this is where things get really fascinating. This table breaks down which countries are publishing the most research, and the numbers are kind of staggering. China is just dominating with 253 contributions. To give you some perspective, that's nearly 6 times more than the United States, which is in second place. Asia, as a continent, is the real powerhouse here. And this world map of collaborations makes that point even clearer. The darker the country, the more collaboration is happening. China isn't just publishing a ton of research on its own, it's the central hub for international partnerships in this whole field. It's basically the epicenter of this tech revolution in libraries. But like with any huge technological leap, all this progress comes with its own set of pretty big challenges and risks. This transformation is definitely not all smooth sailing. So let's look at the two sides of this coin, the incredible progress and the pretty serious pitfalls. On one hand, the promise is massive. You get services tailored to you, 24/7 access, and incredible efficiency. But on the flip side, the dangers are just as real. Collecting all this user data creates huge privacy risks. It threatens to make the digital divide even wider between the well-funded libraries and those without resources. And it creates a massive skills gap for library staff, who now suddenly need to be data analysts. And this point from the research is absolutely critical. The digital divide isn't just about whether or not you have internet. It's about access to these incredibly advanced and often very expensive technologies. Without a solid plan, this whole revolution could end up leaving a lot of places and their users way, way behind. So with all those challenges on the table, how do we move forward? How do we actually grab onto the promise of this tech while managing all the risks? Let's break down the practical path to building the library of tomorrow. It really boils down to a clear 5-step strategy. It has to start at the top with support from the institution. It needs collaboration. No single library can do this alone. It demands a serious commitment to training everyone, staff and users, on digital literacy. It needs real investment in the right tech infrastructure. And finally, you have to constantly check in to see what's working and what isn't. And let's not lose sight of the real goal here. This isn't about using fancy tech for the sake of it. At the end of the day, all of this, the data, the chatbots, the algorithms, it's all in service of one thing: creating dynamic, user-focused hubs of knowledge that are truly built for our modern world. Which leaves us with one last really big question to chew on. We're building these incredibly smart libraries, capable of things we couldn't have even imagined a decade ago. But as they get smarter, the challenge for all of us is to make sure that the knowledge they hold becomes more equitable and accessible, not less. How do we make sure this revolution actually benefits everyone?